Let me have few minutes of your time to educate you and enlighten you, and also break down the powers of the police in case of an arrest. Have you ever wondered the powers and the authority the Nigerian police has in Nigeria today? Have you ever wondered what they can do and what they cannot do? Have you ever wondered your fundamental rights whenever Nigerian police arrest you or maybe stops you on the road? Well, let's find out. My name is Shedrack of the Naija we need, and I'm here to enlighten you and to break down the powers of the Nigerian police, what to do when you are being arrested, what to do when you're on the police station after your arrest, and what are your possible defense you have in the police station, and then what you also need to know and your rights as a Nigerian citizen when Nigerian police makes an arrest of you or of someone that you love. So let's delve into this. Why is this topic important? And before then, if you have not been a subscriber in our channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And I would really love you to put up the notification and come back again. Give us a thumbs up and share this to your loved ones. This is not just for you, it's for everybody. So yes, why is this particular video important? Nigerian police powers and arrest. It's important because you as a Nigerian, as a civilian, you need to know these rights. It's not just criminals that need to know these rights, because every day stop and search is being conducted, investigations are being conducted, mistaken identity are being done by the Nigerian police. And once this thing comes to your doorsteps, these are the things you need to know. From the lectures I'm going to give to you a few minutes from now, I think you should be able to know the powers and what you ought to do when the Nigerian police arrest you or maybe detain someone that you love. So let's get to this. But before then, let's just get to the simple foundation. What laws and how does the Nigerian police derives its power to make an arrest? I mean, why? What laws governs the Nigerian police, okay? Now, there are three principal enactments. There are three principal laws, three major laws. Number one is the Nigerian Constitution. That is the 1999 Constitution as amended 2024, where you get to section 35 of your Constitution. If you go ahead and read it, it says something about your rights of being detained, the right of the police to inform you of the crime that you've committed, the right of bail, right of owning a lawyer whenever you are being detained in the police custody, and also right to not to write statements except you've consulted a legal practitioner. Yes, that is the Nigerian Constitution, and the Nigerian Constitution is the ground norm, okay? So getting to the second law after the Nigerian Constitution, we have the Nigerian Police Act. And the Nigerian Police Act here of 2020, these are the places that you see the enormous powers of the police, how the police should make an arrest, what rights they have to arrest the Nigerian citizen, the procedure to follow to make an arrest, to the powers they have to search, the powers to grant bail. You know, everything, every rule and regulations is mostly found in the Police Act of 2020. You can go ahead and search it on the internet. The Police Act of 2020 is about 670 something sections or more about, I don't know for now, but it's a very interesting something. Once you read that, you definitely know the powers of the Nigerian police and when you take authority over the Nigerian police. So then we get to the third law. The third law is what I call a procedural law. This is the administration of the Criminal Justice Act and justice laws of various states. Acts applies in the Federation, that is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So whenever you are being charged by the act, it means that you've committed crime against the federal government. But if you are being charged by the state laws, that means you've already committed crime against the state government. So I hope you understand that. Acts and laws. Acts are enactments made by the National Assembly, and laws are the enactments made by the State House of Assembly. These are the procedures. It shows the procedures whereby the Nigerian police should prosecute, not persecute, prosecute laws and prosecute and carry out their duties and functions as police officers and also law enforcement agencies, right? Then also it's the same thing that applies to the Nigerian court, where the Nigerian court, there are some laws they have to follow, guidelines and principles they need to follow to get these things done. So like I mentioned, the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended 2024, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act and laws of various states, then the Nigerian Police Act. These are the three major laws that guides the activities and the authorities of the Nigerian police. So let's get to the main dish of this particular video. And what are the powers of the Nigerian police? Now, the Nigerian police have the power to arrest with warrants. I mean, generally, the Nigerian police have the power to make an arrest. It is from arrest that police have to get to investigation. At some point, they start investigation before arrest. But a situation whereby they get to arrest before investigation, they still have that power to make that arrest, okay? When we talk about arrest with warrant, it means that the Nigerian police have the power to be equipped with a warrant. And what is a warrant? A warrant is an order by the court or a legislative house, either the House of Assembly, State House of Assembly, or the National Assembly, usually issued by the judge, magistrate, or the National Assembly themselves, procuring someone else, ordering somebody to arrest someone else for probably a commission of crime or being suspected to commit a crime. So the arrest warrant is more like a document in a form of sheet of paper, whereby you show to the person that you need to arrest, especially the police, and then, restrain him. So there are conditions whereby Nigerian police can arrest with warrants. Number one is whenever the alleged offense of the suspect or whoever they want to arrest is a very serious one, maybe terrorism, allegations of terrorism, treason, murder, and the rest of them. The Nigerian police ought to get a warrant of arrest to make that particular arrest. Then the second one is that if a law mandates that a warrant of arrest should be given before an arrest should be made, then of course the Nigerian police ought to get a warrant of arrest before that particular arrest should be made. Then the third one is when you have disobeyed court order. Court order in the sense that you've been granted court bail and then they order you to come to court to answer for your crimes or maybe to, do witness for someone and you've been refusing to come to court or listen to court order. The Nigerian judge can issue a bench warrant to secure arrest immediately and bring you to court. So that's circumstances whereby you can arrest with warrant. Now, a warrant of arrest is usually containing the name of the person to be arrested, the description of the person, it's just very short description, then a small description or statement stating the offense that particular suspect has already committed, okay? Then the issuing authority. These are the things you need to know to, get to identify a valid warrant of arrest. So if you don't see these particular things there, maybe photographs too, then that means that arrest warrant is invalid. Now, when I'm talking about invalid arrest warrants, the Nigerian police do not have the power to sign an arrest warrant. IG of the police station, IG of the Nigerian police cannot sign a warrant of arrest. He cannot even issue that. AG of the federation or AG of the state cannot sign it. IPO cannot sign it. DPO cannot sign it. So the warrant of arrest must come from these three individuals that I talked about: the judge, magistrate, and the National Assembly. Okay. If you want to know about the National Assembly, you can go ahead and get to Section 89 of the Nigerian Constitution. You could see where they gave the Nigerian legislatives power to make arrest warrants. Arrest warrants does not expire. It does not expire. It does not die. If the issuing authority, which is the judge or magistrate, dies, the arrest warrant does not die. It does not expire merely because the person who issued it is no longer there. Crime is a very serious something. So the only way a warrant of arrest can expire is if it is being executed, that is, the arrests have been made on that particular person, or the issuing authority cancels it. So if this judge writes and issues an arrest warrant, he can go back and cancel it at the same period. So once he cancels it, the arrest warrant is dead. It's gone. Another thing you need to know about warrants of arrest is that they cannot use a same warrant of arrest to arrest you over and over again. Warrant of arrest is meant to be used just once, and the individuals described in that warrant of arrest, they cannot use it to rearrest them on the same offense or maybe on different occasions, okay? And you cannot use a warrant of arrest meant for Mr. James to arrest Mr. B or Mr. John. Once John looks at the warrant of arrest, and you are obligated to tell the Nigerian police and to require for the warrant of arrest, Nigerian police are obligated to show you that warrant of arrest at the point of arrest so that you can look at it and know whether these guys are coming with a very valid document, okay? If your name is not in the warrant of arrest or is not among those in the warrant of arrest, please do not go with the Nigerian police anywhere because they are violating your right, and that is an unlawful arrest, okay? So that is all you need to know about warrant of arrest. So Nigerian police, on the second hand, have the power to arrest you without warrant. We have talked about arrest with warrant, and then we're now talking about arrest without warrant. I hope you are listening. I hope you are following me. I hope I'm not rushing. Please, if you have a question, drop it on the comments below, okay? Now, arrest without warrant is a situation whereby Nigerian police do not need court order to perform its power and functions. So what are the circumstances whereby the Nigerian police can arrest you without warrant? Number one is when you are committing an offense in his presence. The Nigerian police does not need to go to court to get a warrant of arrest to arrest you, so they ought to arrest you immediately, okay? So that is arrest without warrant. Sorry, I have to turn back a little bit. I'm just the one shooting it here. So the second situation is where there is a riot or mutiny or probably unpeaceful protest. Now, take for instance, let me give you an instance here, okay? NSAS. NSAS was a peaceful one until talks infiltrated into NSAS protest. So the Nigerian police do not have rights to quell a peaceful protest, but they have the power and authority to quell an unpeaceful one. That is where a situation now, if there is a riot, the Nigerian police have the power immediately to suppress that riot immediately with their powers, whatever power they have to suppress it. So they can make arrests at will, and nobody's going to question them. It's a very, very valid one. Then number three is whenever there is a law that says this guy doesn't need a warrant of arrest to make an arrest. They can go ahead and arrest you as you are committing that crime, or maybe there is an allegation against you. So if the offense does not really require an arrest warrant, the Nigerian police can come ahead and arrest you, okay? So that is it with Nigerian police and arrest warrant and arrest without warrant. Now we're talking about more of the Nigerian police powers. The Nigerian police have the power to detain you upon allegations of crime against you. They have that power to arrest and detain you in custody, but they have to detain you within 24 hours or 48 hours or thereabouts. If this time frame elapses, they are obligated to charge you to a court of competent jurisdiction. Now, they need to charge you to law. That is where you need to know your rights. Once the Nigerian police arrest you, try as much as you can to let them know that you have your fundamental rights to be charged to court within reasonable time, which is usually 48 hours. Anything more than 48 hours, you can sue for your fundamental human rights and claim damages against the Nigerian police or that particular headquarters that retained you. But if the Nigerian police wishes to detain you more, they get what we call remand order. So that's the powers of the police at that particular time. The police also have the power to take your fingerprints. They also have the power to inquire a lot of things from you. They have the power to, whenever they search you, right? When they are executing arrest warrants, they still have that power to search your rooms, to search your houses. So you can't just say, okay, you have the warrant to just arrest me only, so why are you searching my house? No, it's like arrest warrant is like a gray area. The same thing with search warrant. Once they see you with a particular incriminating object, it is called an exhibit, okay? These are the powers of the Nigerian police at this point. So let's get to what are your own powers and what should you do whenever Nigerian police arrest you, what to do, and what does the Nigerian police have to do whenever they arrest or apprehend you in any maybe roadblock, checkpoints, and the rest of them. Let's get to it. So let me summarize your rights again so that you can probably list them out or write them down or memorize them, because in case Nigerian police messes up with your rights, you have this authority over them. Nigerian police are obligated to give you bail whenever they make an arrest on you. Nigerian police sometimes they just disobey this order and retain you for over 72 hours. Once those things have happened, you need to alert someone that you know. You don't need to be the one to enforce your fundamental human rights. Another person can do that on your behalf. Your mom, your brother, your lawyer can do that on your behalf, okay, while you are still in detention. And you can even claim damages of over 50 million naira from the police. So you have your rights to bail. Because everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. Number 2 is that you have the right not to be arrested in lieu of another person. When I say arrested in lieu of another person, it means they cannot arrest Chijioke's father because of the crime of Chijioke, okay? Once that happens and you notice that maybe Chijioke's father is your friend, go out immediately and seek for his enforcement of fundamental human rights, because it is very, very wrong. Then another interesting right that you have is that the Nigerian police do not have the right to arrest you based on stereotype. Stereotypically, I mean is that maybe I'm having a dreadlocks, maybe I'm looking so fine, maybe I'm wearing so much good shoes, Nike shoes and the rest of them. Automatically, Nigerian police looks at me and say, yeah, you look like a Yahoo boy. Of course, the Nigerian police and the laws are frowned at this. As for of a Nigerian police officer just, arresting and harassing some Nigerian persons or citizens based on stereotype. Maybe I even have a red eye today and Nigerian police think I am a drug addict, okay? So these are the some other points that you need to know whenever Nigerian police arrest you. That's your right. You have your right to a legal practitioner. Of course, you know that just once immediately they arrest you, say, I need to speak to my lawyer. Then you have the right not to write statements. When I say right not to write statements until you have consulted your lawyer, is that you may even refuse to write statements, because your right of silence is a very, very golden right that you may just choose not to write statements. But Nigerian police always force you to write statements at the police stage. If you refuse to write statement, then they ought not to do anything to you. But Nigeria, that we know, they will do something because they want you to put down something, So, but if you write statements, it's still not bad. But if you request that your lawyer be there when you write your statement, the Nigerian police does not rob you of that right. Then another point is that the Nigerian police are obligated to allow you make your defense, especially defense that are being made in the police station at the point of arrest. These defenses are called defense of alibi. I'm going to talk about it in the later video today. I'm going to talk about it towards the ending. But so sit back and watch and know about defense of alibi, okay? Then the Nigerian police ought to treat you with dignity and human, professionalism. This is one thing that the Nigerian police have failed a lot of time, and they're trying their best to get it right. You as a suspect is not subject to torture. Once they torture you to make statements or call whoever you don't want to call, or maybe you call whoever that you want to fictitiously believe that it's committed the offense on your name, do not allow that. Once it's being done, find a lawyer immediately. And once you find a lawyer immediately, your lawyer knows what to do. Then also you have the right not to be arrested because of civil disputes. When I talk about civil disputes, maybe you are having a civil wrong with your neighbor and your neighbor calls the police for you. Of course, once the police comes in, you'll be like, police, this is not your jurisdiction. I want you to learn that word, jurisdiction. When you kind of like speak that big Oyibo for them, they'll be like, oh ma, this guy knows the law. So once you say police, this is not your jurisdiction, it's a civil matter and not a criminal matter. So Nigerian police may even conduct an arrest at that point, but wants to make an investigation. That is what we call the amicable activity, right? But a Nigerian police officer who knows the law, of course, knows that this is when they have to step in and when they don't need to step in. So they don't have the right to arrest you over a civil dispute. All right. Now also the Nigerian police must give you the right to remain silent. Now the right to remain silent can extend, while I call it golden rule, is that golden silence is that it can extend from your point of arrest. your arraignment, that is when they are asking you, are you guilty or not guilty, you may choose to remain silent. Then during your prosecution, you can keep to remain silent. During your defense, you can choose to remain silent till your judgment and sentencing. So if you probably, it's a dangerous right anyway, but if you feel like you are innocent and the prosecution does not have any evidence against you or compelling evidence that will pin you to that crime, you can go ahead and become silent, okay? But it's a very dangerous one anyway. So these are the things you must know. The Nigerian Constitution is there to protect you. It's the Baba of all laws. So you need to quote it verbatim as it is. You need to also speak it. You need to also represent it whenever you are working out there in the Nigerian soil, okay? So let's talk about what you should not do whenever the Nigerian police is arresting you, whether lawfully or unlawfully. Unlawfully means when it does not fall in the bounds of all these things that I just mentioned previously, right? You need to do these things. You don't need to, number one, fight with the police. Whether they're arresting you lawfully or unlawfully, you need to be calm and calculated. You can't just fight them. If you fight them, they may release an accidental discharge and then take your life at that point. You don't argue violently with them. Simply, if they say you should enter car, go ahead and enter their car and make sure they are taking you to the nearest police station. Then another thing is that you also do not have, in fact, you do not need to sign any statements that is not written by you or not consented by you, or a statement that you need a lawyer to review before you sign them, okay? Most times Nigerian police can come up with a statement and tell you, sign here, and you want to go and sign. You may put yourself in trouble, So you need to get a lawyer, or you need to understand what that particular statement is all about before you can even consent to it, especially when you don't have a lawyer. Remember, do not fight with the Nigerian police. Do not cause violence. Do not even go into verbal talks with them. Whenever you are in a confined or a secured area where you feel like there are more reasonable Nigerian police officers there, you can now speak for your rights. And then at some point whereby your investigating police officer, that's the IPO, does not seem to help your matter, you can request to meet the DPO, that is the divisional police officer. These are the individuals we will presume that are more reasonable in this particular case, especially when you are talking about your fundamental rights. Remember, I mentioned something about defense of alibi. Now, before we get further into my video, we're going to talk about defense of alibi. Let me hear you say alibi, because you need to know the words very well. Just like I taught you jurisdiction, you have to talk about alibi. Alibi means elsewhere. It's one of the oldest form of defense whenever Nigeria, in fact, from history, okay? It means that you are not there when a crime has been committed. It's a criminal defense at this point. Whenever Nigerian police arrests you and brings you to custody, the first thing you ought to do is to make your defense of alibi. You have to tell the police timelessly, this defense does not work whenever they have arraigned you. Okay, you cannot probably spend 24 hours in the police custody and come to court and tell the court that I was not there when this thing happened. Why didn't you raise it on the police level? Okay, so this defense is being raised timelessly. When I say timelessly, is at your point of arrest, I was not there. So the Nigerian police are obligated to investigate that particular alibi, your claim of alibi. They must investigate it immediately to ascertain whether you are there at the point of crime or not, okay? So for the Nigerian police to make investigation, they must first of all inquire from you these 3 or 4 things. Number 1, where were you? You have to state where you were during that particular time. Then who were you with? You must state who you were with that particular period of the time the crime was going on. And then what were you doing there when you are at that particular time? So let's take, for instance, a crime happened at Jos Plateau, and then you claim that you are in Anambra, okay? You have to state the individuals that you are in Anambra with you, and then what you are doing at that particular time. If it was around 9 o'clock, maybe it's an armed robbery case, what were you doing around 9 o'clock? You may be at a meeting with your alumni and the rest of them. You have to state that immediately. The Nigerian police are obligated. In fact, it's their duty to go to that Anambra immediately to verify that you weren't there. Immediately these things, the Nigerian police looks at it and say, okay, this guy wasn't there at the point of crime. Of course, they have to let you go. They don't even need to charge you for anything, okay? But if the Nigerian police fails to investigate that alibi, that is when you can now go ahead in the courtroom and say, my lord, before even anything, my lord, I raised the defense of alibi at the police stage, but the Nigerian police failed to investigate that defense of alibi. Maybe you need your lawyer to sweeten it up anyway, but if you don't have a lawyer, just say, my lord, I raised the defense of alibi, they did not investigate it. The judge or magistrate will immediately mandate the Nigerian police to make that investigation immediately, okay? So that is where your alibi can be raised at during the arraignment of your court, okay? That is what you ought to do. But now, alibi also cannot be raised when the Nigerian police arrest you at the crime, at the location of the crime scene, okay? The crime scene, sorry. So once you have been arrested at that spot, you cannot say I was not there. Or maybe you ran away from the crime scene and maybe you were caught somewhere else, maybe in the bank, maybe it's a bank robbery, and then you ran away, they found you in a church and you want to raise the defense of alibi. It doesn't work like that, okay? Then also, whereby alibi does not work is in case of conspiracy. If you conspire to do an act of terrorism or maybe one of the grievous offenses in Nigerian laws, alibi cannot really save you because you've conspired to commit a crime against the state. They can charge you for conspiracy and you serve sentence for that. I hope you understand the concept of alibi now. So it must be raised timelessly, immediately. An alibi means what? I was not there, okay? So also, before we keep moving on, can a civilian, a Nigerian citizen, make an arrest, a valid one? Of course. Yeah, the arrest powers is not just left for the Nigerian police at this point. It is also left for us as Nigerian citizens to make a valid arrest. So what are the circumstances you can make an arrest as a Nigerian citizen? Now, there are 3 conditions Nigerian police and the Nigerian laws have given the Nigerian citizens the right to make an arrest. Number 1 is when somebody is committing an offense in your presence, offense of felony in your presence, okay? You can arrest the person and retain him. So, but the main thing you have to know here is that you cannot keep somebody in detention in your private home. You need to take that person to the nearest police station as soon as possible upon your arrest, okay? Then the second one is that when somebody is committing an offense of misdemeanor at night, maybe somebody is doing something crazy at night, maybe he jumped your fence to steal your rod, you can, hold him immediately and then take him to the police custody. Then the third one is that when you are suspecting someone have committed an offense of felony, that is where you can go ahead and arrest that person and take him to the police station. But in a situation whereby it's already very, very late and you cannot bring him to a police station immediately, I'm advising you to do what? Take him to any security outfits out there, probably the neighborhood watch. They know what to do with him because neighborhood watch can hold that person for overnight and take him to the police station the next day, okay? But you don't need to do what? Take custody of that person, all right? So you also have to note the fundamental human rights of that particular suspect that you arrested. You are not subjecting him to jungle justice. If you do that, you've already infringed in someone else's rights. And if the police officers arrest you later on, you have to answer to the law, okay? So you make arrest and handle the person properly. Do not beat the person. That is the advice of the law anyway, so that they don't beat you your own time. I don't hope that you get your own time anyway, Sha. So from my talks today and at the end of the day, I've already given you the bonus tips, which is the alibi defense and then also citizens making an arrest. So to summarize all these things, yeah, you should know the importance of your rights as a Nigerian citizen. Do not sleep on it and know when to cooperate with the Nigerian police and other law enforcement agency. It is good for you to go and look at those Nigerian laws. It is not as complicated as you think. You should go ahead and know offenses existing in Nigeria, okay, so that you know how to stand on your right. Most people today, for instance, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is already shouting on his right that there are some wrongs in the judicial aspect, whereby the judiciary are saying that They are going to try you on some laws, and he knows he's right. That is why he's shouting on top of his voices. So when you know you're right, you are like a lion roaring throughout the whole jungle. If you don't know your rights, they will definitely stample upon you and make you like a scapegoat without knowing your rights. So go ahead and look at the Nigerian constitution and some of those laws. Take your time and digest them. Okay, it's not just power of police to make arrests. There are other things Nigerian police cannot do, which I'm going to say in a lot of videos in this particular channel. So subscribe to this channel. Please, if you like this video, it's a long one. Me, I know it's a long one, but it's kind of like educational for Nigerian law school students, Nigerian law students, and then you also that needs to know your rights as a Nigerian student. I mean, Nigerian law enlightened person, civilian, let's just say it like that. So my name is Shedrag, okay? I hope I did not take a lot of your time, and it is very interesting communicating with you. I really love you. I want you to come back again next time. Have a very great day. And this is the Naija we need. And I've always said it. The Naija we need is a citizen-based volunteer movement. The movement started from me and you. The way you're watching me and watching you, I'm teaching you. You need to know this and teach other persons. So we deal with social, political, economics, cultural, and civil rights and civil activities and other activities related to Nigerian government. If it's not Nigeria, we don't do it. We need everything that will favor Nigeria, okay? We really, really do want to have a very good nation. And we believe in Nigeria. I believe in Nigeria. And Nigeria is going to be well.